Alrighty, Radio Tekkers special report. Oh my goodness. Lionel Messi is leaving Barcelona. Holy shit. Alrighty, everybody, welcome to a special report of Radio Tekkers. I am Tanner, aka the Texas Gentleman. No mustache. Mustacheless completely here today. But I am joined by two very special people here for this special report. First off, our new field analyst, Chris. Chris, how are you doing?
Hey, not too bad. I just thought I'd give you some thumbnail faces in case you needed them.
Good. I appreciate the thumbnail faces.
Exactly. You see, it's always about the grind, the content. You've got to keep it going all the time.
It's true. It's true. And, of course, my regular co-host on the Radio Tekkers show that normally appears on the weekends, Mr. Matt Willis, the Matt Attack. How are you doing today, sir?
I've got to say, mind is blown as to what's been happening today alone in the football world. Of course, we are live on Tekkers, of course, right now. So get in the chat if you tell us what you're thinking about the news that we didn't just ever going to happen. And some people, not saying any names,
I'm just going to point at them.
May not actually happen still. So not sure how long it's going to be today, but we're hopefully going to shed some light on it and basically speculate wildly.
Yes, indeed. Connor McCabe is in the chat, says, hello, Matt, Tanner, and Chris. How's it going, Connor?
Hey.
Hope you're doing well.
Hey.
UTT Rob is also in the chat. How's it going, Rob? Hope you're doing well as well. Asking, Messi to town, potentially? That'd be interesting.
That'd be Huddersfield Town, I'm guessing he means. But
I'm certain.
Second best player behind Lewis O'Brien at Huddersfield.
Kids Watch Anime has joined us in the chat as well. This is a very long message here. I can't even see Chris. That's how long the message is. Basically, it says, I'm depressed right now, struggling to understand Messi leaving Barcelona after 22 years. It's sad. Started supporting Barcelona since 2015, only to watch Messi play, but he made me love the club. He was been in every moment of Barcelona, whether it is the 6-1 comeback, 8-2 embarrassment. Love you, Lionel Messi. Long live Messi. And some crying emojis there. Yes, lots of emotion pouring out here.
I'm sure he will live long, because the medical care in Paris is pretty good. So
it's not bad. Manchester either, by the counts.
Connor McCabe also noting that the Barcelona president is to hold a press conference 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Times. Yeah.
I'm going to get to that in a minute about La Liga, because it does all seem to be everyone's pointing at people pointing fingers at each other in Spain, which is amazing, and that's the sort of thing to do. This all stems, of course, from, and indirectly stems from, the collapse, for lack of a better term, of the ESL. It didn't happen, of course, so we didn't get the money, which means that, La Liga, apparently that's what you got to work with, Barca, and you can't sign him. Aguero hasn't even signed. You can't register him still.
Yeah, Aguero unable to fully sign his commitments. Gentlemen, let's talk about how we got here, because I think that we owe that to everybody, ourselves, and everybody watching, everybody who's going to be listening, about how we got here. Because last summer, it seemed like Messi was set to go. It was big news then. This seems to be much bigger now, because all the pieces were in play for Messi to stay. It seemed like a bang-on deal that he was going to be staying in Barcelona. New president, new La Liga deal here in the States with ESPN. But here we are.
8-year deal with ESPN in Canada and America. So that's long past Messi's retirement, obviously. It's We were talking about it just the other week on Tekkers about he looks much happier now. Got a new bloke in charge, and he's going to take that massive wage cut, apparently up to 60%, depending on which source you look at. I've actually got some figures here. If you're going to go on his contract, which expired on June the 30th, his contract was £123 million a year. Let me put that into context for you. That's £2,365,384.81 a week, £337,912.08 a day, or £14,079.67 an hour.
Yes, truly eye-watering amount of money.
Putting that into context, in 2 hours, he gets more than I get in a year.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's mad how he can go to sleep and then wake up with the same amount of money as the main prize on Deal or No Deal. Honestly, it's absolutely mad.
It's ridiculous. And he was, and they're like, "Oh, I'm happy to take half of that." I'm being like, "Wind your neck in. You didn't pay your taxes for a fucking decade."
Ooh, so spicy there, Matt. You like to swear? I thought we were PG now.
Yeah. I thought we were gonna, wait at least 10 minutes, but that's okay.
Mags ain't here. Someone's got to do it.
Somebody's got to do the job. I understand that. Chris,
yeah, I'll pass to Chris in one moment. So it has annoyed me looking at our numbers because maths isn't my strong point. If you're just a good cop, bad cop, it's not my strong point. Cheers. But at the same time, it infuriates me that he was going to sign a 5-year contract that was half that amount, and it's still a hell of a lot of money. And even by cutting his wages in half, they still couldn't sign him.
Yes, yeah. It seems as though the headline is currently, as of right now, and this is actually from Barcelona, that they are unable to, I guess, put together the deal with Messi at this time. That, like, everybody from Barcelona to Sky Sports to ESPN to every
Marca,
sporting
Spanish press,
Marca, every sporting outlet, including ours, that has covered this so far has made note. It is at this time, right? And that's where I'm going to kick it over to Chris here. How did we get to this point from a Barcelona and La Liga standpoint, and why is it at this time that we don't have a deal?
Yeah, so I mean, forgive me if what I say, first off, forgive me if what I say isn't 100% accurate. I've only had about an hour to scramble together all these details, all these financial situations.
Fair enough.
Chris, this is quite.
This is quite big.
So, yeah, it's quite a recent.
Yeah.
We'll forgive you if you make an odd little mistake. It's fine.
Okay, so I'm glad that you'll forgive me, Matt. That's what I was mainly wanting it.
I will fact check as we go, but go on.
I'm sure you will, and I'm sure Matt will as well. Right, so yeah, basically, the plan for La Liga was to sell, I can't remember exactly how much it was, but it was to sell some shares of La Liga to this American company called CVC, which would generate more money for La Liga. It would generate approximately, they said, $2.3 billion US dollars that would go into La Liga, and about 220 million of that would go to Barcelona. Barcelona opposed this. They didn't want to do it, mainly because that would essentially kill off any sort of hopes for the Super League. Now, the problem is with this is that currently Messi's wages, they physically would not be able to happen in the Liga because of the La Liga salary cap. The way that La Liga works is that a wage bill cannot be more for a club. That's not for a player. A wage bill cannot be more than the income of the club. That's just to help, similar to like FFP, it's to help clubs not spend beyond their means. And with Messi's new contract, it would have taken Barcelona's overall wage bill to 110 million. So basically, they were asked to decide, Barcelona, whether they wanted to still try and cling on to the last dying breaths of the Super League and also lose the greatest player in the history of their club and possibly of all time, or they get to keep him and finally abandon the rotting corpse of the European Super League. And rather than doing what I would have done, what quite a few people would do, which is choose the latter, they chose the former. They opposed the CVC takeover, and therefore they didn't get the extra income, and they can't afford to bring in the wages necessary for Messi. I think the plan was, obviously, they've attempted mutual termination with the likes of Pjanic, with the likes of Griezmann, in order to just get them off the wage bill so that they could afford Messi. But obviously, they're still at the club. They're wanting to stay. And I mean, we saw that, like you said, we saw that before with Aguero not being able to be registered. We're seeing that again with Lionel Messi. And the statement by Barcelona, I actually have it here. It actually said, both parties deeply regret the wishes of the player and the club will ultimately not be fulfilled. So that's an important factor, is that Messi wanted to stay at Barcelona. Despite FC Barcelona and Lionel Messi having reached an agreement and the clear intention of both parties to sign a new contract today, this cannot happen because of financial and structural obstacles, which is obviously the CVC takeover not happening because of Barcelona opposing it.
Yeah, Spanish league regulations.
Yeah, the salary cap, FC Barcelona wholeheartedly expresses its gratitude to the player for his contribution and the aggrandizement of I cannot read what I've written, of the club, and wishes him all the very best for his future. So to me, that does not sound like a statement for when Lionel Messi is leaving the club and they know that he's leaving the club. Because that's the sort of statement that you give when Yerry Mina's leaving Barcelona, not Lionel Messi. So, I've definitely got a feeling that this isn't over. I've got a feeling that there will be some very tense and fierce negotiations between Barcelona and La Liga over the next few weeks. I hate to be a cynic, but really? because of the club that I support, that's sort of been pounded into me year after year. But it's a case of I'll believe it when I see it. Personally, I believe that he will line up wearing a Barcelona strip next season.
And it's certainly very possible. I mean, if you think about it in a viable financial context here, it would only make the most sense for both Barcelona and La Liga, and Messi as well, to stay at Barcelona, especially considering how much, I guess, money is put into La Liga because of Messi. Imagine the drop-off of viewership internationally if Messi is no longer in a Barcelona t-shirt Barcelona kit next next few weeks here. We've been talking about Messi and deservedly so. Let's talk about Barcelona's, I guess, if they aren't able to sign Messi, and I'm sorry for the lack of editing and clarity here. It's just, this is very shocking news.
Out of the blue, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I will say, before we get to that, thank you everybody in the chat. We will get to you.
Yes, of course. We've got, obviously, Kids Watch Anime is talking about Laporta not being able to do anything that's kind of been bound by, Barcelona's been bound by La Liga here. Five Nerds Go is talking about it coming down to the ESL deal and, how that's impacted, obviously, Barcelona's dealings here. This is all a crazy situation. If Barcelona does not sign Messi, Matt, what happens next?
Right. Now, if Messi does not remain at Barcelona, this is the big thing. Everybody's always said, where could he go? Well, basically, he can go wherever he wants to go. It's more a case of who could afford him. Now, obviously, various places have probably put bets out on where he's going to go. I'm using a very reliable sports-based website to throw out some team names. I'll tell you what the odds
This isn't
are.
the BBC. You can say which one you're using.
I like I like to try and be impartial. I'm using one which may have something to do with the atmosphere outside.
Right.
So,
Okay.
with throw a club at me. I'll tell you what the odds are of him joining. Apparently,
Okay.
go on.
Well, I mean, I already know the odds.
You do,
PSG.
PSG currently 10 to 11.
10 to 11. Okay, that's pretty big. I mean, I would say they've been doing a pretty good job of signing up a lot of free agents. Obviously, Sergio Ramos, Donnarumma, Gini Wijnaldum.
If he ends up for PSG, it will hasten the departure of at least one player, I feel.
Perhaps so.
That player may be even Mbappe or Neymar. And the reason I say Neymar, the reason he moved to PSG was to get out of Messi's shadow. And he's just following him to Paris. That would not sit well with Neymar, I feel, because he certainly wouldn't be first choice if Messi was there.
I mean,
Well, he's arguably not first choice already.
You're saying,
considering, Mbappe's already, sort of the golden child of French football. He's the poster boy. He's got all the sponsorship deals, mainly because, he's from Paris. He's playing for PSG. Sort of, you've got that sort of already, that sort of homegrown sort of feeling about Mbappe. Mm-hmm. But Neymar's still sort of, the imported superstar. He's still got that for him. And if Messi comes, he definitely wouldn't have that.
Well, and both Messi and Neymar have publicly said that they would like to play alongside each other once again, right? Like that's what I've heard them saying previously through the press. Now, how they feel behind closed doors.
Say that, but say that it was never going to happen. Now it could actually happen.
Mm-hmm.
Is Neymar really going to want to share pitch space with? I don't think he could have a choice if Messi ends up there. He just, look at some of these other odds though. I mean, Barcelona is 6-4. As you say, Chris, it's quite high odds that he could stay at Barca. Man City is then 6-1, which is. Because I was talking to my other half, Chris, about this before we came on air, and he said, "Could City sign him? Because they just signed Grealish today. Obviously, he's gone through for 100 million."
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, well, they've not got to pay a transfer fee. They've got to pay wages. Man City could certainly afford his wages. However, they're also courting another player from the north of London right now. And they've got to pay a very big transfer fee and very big wages for him. So I think the case of if they're going to sign one of the two, financially, Messi is the more sensible choice. Financially, anyway.
I mean, it depends, because there's obviously short-term and long-term gains for both. I mean, I would encourage anyone who hasn't already seen it to, after this stream is over, go and watch the video that myself and Tanner put out about Harry Kane's transfer to Manchester City. I did a really good job in it, Tanner not so much. But what I will say, you did all right. Acting dumb.
Chris has got broad shoulders, it's fine.
Yeah, exactly. No, but I think obviously in the short term, Harry Kane would cost more money, obviously, because of the pure £150 million transfer fee that he would have to pay. But you've got to think in the long term, Messi would probably cost more money. In terms of purely outgoing, I mean, in terms of net, expenditure, that might be less because you'd think that Messi would be able to bring more money into the club than Harry Kane. But you've got to think, I mean, you're saying, not to, call you out or anything, but you're saying, they're only going to have to spend wages on Messi. The signing on bonus that Messi's going to get, the amount of money that they're going to have to pay his agent, it's going to be absolutely mental. I mean, we've seen agent fees and signing on bonuses rising when transfer fees are involved. I mean, you just look at the Erling Haaland move to Borussia Dortmund. Yeah. I think Borussia Dortmund paid roughly like 3 times. I think they paid roughly 20 million to Salzburg and then about 20 million to each of Haaland's agents, plus another 20 million to Haaland himself. So, signing on bonuses, agent fees, they're creeping up and up. And you've got to think with Lionel Messi, that's a completely different kettle of fish, especially since you don't have to pay a transfer fee to Barcelona. And you've got to consider Messi's wages will be a lot higher than Harry Kane's, you'd have to think. I can't see, as brilliant of a player Harry Kane is, one of the finest centre forwards that this country has seen in a while. But you got to think his wages wouldn't be in the millions per week, whereas Messi's would be.
Messi's wages at Barca were 370 a week, give or take, and that's yikes.
So Five Nerds Go puts in the chat here that financially any top 6 club in the Premier League could afford Messi due to the income and sponsors it would bring. Whether he'd move to any of them is a different question. So let's ponder that.
Let me give you the odds for every team in that top 6 then right now, shall I?
Yes, please do.
Okay, so the one that I've actually got listed here, Leicester aren't listed. Okay. So I can't give Leicester, unfortunately. However,
I would take Spurs, maybe not there either.
Spurs are 40-1.
So no, so it's not going to happen.
Spurs are the same odds as Bayern Munich and Real Madrid.
Scenes if he went to Real Madrid.
Arsenal are 50. Liverpool 25.
That's not bad.
Man United are 20. Chelsea are 18. Let's not forget Chelsea got money.
Chelsea do have money.
Chelsea have got money, so if they wanted to, he'd be a nice little signing for him for sure. And Abramovich would make him welcome, obviously.
Well, it all depends how far along this Romelu Lukaku deal is.
Yeah, because they want 110 million from Inter, don't they? And so Inter could have money as well, and they're 20-1. And of course, Newell's Old Boys are 16-1, along with any MLS side.
But you got to think there's going to be one in particular that would be standing out to Messi.
Into Miami, probably.
Yeah, probably. Because they'll have the most money. You'd have to think. I mean, don't get me wrong. We do have a certain American up in the top left corner who will probably have more MLS knowledge than myself and Matthew combined. No?
Actually, Chris, the person with the MLS knowledge is in the chat right now. It'd be Connor McCabe, of course.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Connor is in the chat, and I will actually I will actually credit Connor for something that he had put in a previous chat when we were still on the Shooting the Sports-ish network. How's it going? So the article that he had once linked me to did state that part of a potential contract negotiation with Barcelona would see Messi go to Inter Miami for a short spell after his Barcelona tenure. I guess they would try and make some kind of agreement there. But that Messi could.
Sorry, I'm interrupting you here. I believe what it was that at any point during the 4-year contract that would have been agreed. So obviously it's going to be different now. But at any point during the 4-year contract, it would have been agreed. Messi could leave Barcelona to go to any club outside of Europe.
Okay.
And he would still remain an ambassador for the club and still receive his playing wages from the club.
By ambassador, he would still be under contract with Barcelona. He would just be essentially on a loan without the wage factor.
On a loan where they still have to pay all of his wages.
If you want,
we saw Ronaldinho be Barcelona's ambassador from prison, so it can't be that hard of a job.
Fair enough. So,
and it is factually accurate. I will say, if you want the outside bet, Rome is 66-1. That is actually longer odds than Everton and Aston Villa.
Now, let me throw
Burnley.
Burnley. I'll refresh and see if I can find a Burnley one for you, mate. Okay.
All right, cheers. I might have to request a bet on that.
Let me ask you this, Matt. Here, since you have the odds on your screen, is Napoli anywhere on there? The only reason why I ask is there's always the comparison between Maradona and Messi and their legacies. It would be quite interesting if maybe Messi followed in those footsteps.
Napoli is on that list. They've just been added to the list after a refresh. In fact, they are 50-1.
50-1. Okay, so just as good as Arsenal and Spurs.
This is it. Yes.
And if proof were ever needed, that is definitive proof that the obviously I'm not allowed to say which one it is because Matt won't allow me, but these certain odds makers definitely watch Radio Tekkers. They added Napoli as soon as Tanner asked that. So.
Scenes.
Hey, Rupert Murdoch, how you doing?
You heard it here, folks. Messi to Napoli is on. It's happening. It's
here we go.
Here we go. Per Fabrizio Romano.
So with all that being said, we've touched on it as well, slightly as well. How much does Messi arriving somewhere affect the transfer window in general now? Is it going to affect a lot of clubs potentially?
I think if it affects anybody directly, it's going to affect either City or it affects PSG. That seems to be the two, in my mind, that are going to be able to be best capable of affording.
And Barcelona, to be fair.
Well, and Barcelona. Barcelona. Yeah. Barcelona you'd have to put in there as well.
The reason I'm asking that is because not necessarily because of wages and things like that, but you're putting Messi in, you start him. Let's face it, no matter where he goes, you start him. Yeah. So who's he replacing?
I mean, as Five Nerds Go puts in the chat, Messi under Phil Neville would be sensational scenes.
By the time Messi got there, Phil Neville would be sacked. As we've been following by Conor McCabe with his MLS watch-alongs, yes, I may have voted multiple times to make him watch Inter Miami because they're doing terrible right now.
He's awful.
Yeah,
I remember watching.
Woeful. That's being very kind, Mr. Chris.
Yeah, well, I remember watching. I think it was in Mexico at the time. I was watching England women versus USA women. The World Cup. It was a semi-final or something like that. And Phil Neville was just tactically all over the shop. There was no, sort of tactical imprint on that team at all. So I mean, obviously, you can all have a bad game, but if I'm judging solely off of that game, he's one of the worst managers I've ever seen in my life. So,
UTT Rob in the chat with some breaking news. He's heard a rumor that Messi was seen buying steak bake over at Greg's in Fulham.
Good man, he's buying steak bake.
That is up there. That's up there with the one you see every year, which is Juan Robin Riquelme spotted at Everton training ground. Mm-hmm. I will say, shout out to our co-host Mags that Harry Kane's going to put a Peter on a wiggy and get turned away at the Etihad if Messi does sign. If they don't sign them both, there's no way they can afford to sign them both. Even with their wage structure, they can't afford to sign them both.
Let's ponder that for a minute here. You have to imagine that City is salivating over the prospect of
if their heads aren't turned by that announcement this evening. Because face it, we all were. Literally, I posted that. I think Tanner was like, "Holy shit!"
Yes, those were my exact words in the chat.
I posted, but Messi is leaving Barcelona, and posted the gif of, "Oh my god, it's happening!" from the office because we didn't. None of us believed that this is going to be. I mean, it still may come to pass. He stays at Barca, as you say, Chris. 24
hours ago, the reports from Sky Sports was that the deal would be done this week, and then today there's not a deal. He's leaving at this time. So I mean, who knows what's going to happen
by Saturday? Who knows? When we go live on Saturday with Tekkers, who knows? In 48 hours' time, he could be Barcelona again. Yeah. But financially, I don't see how. I mean, bear in mind that this whole financial fair play fee that's going on in Spain right now, which all the teams have signed up to, it's not like it's the new thing. They signed up to this 9 years ago. Mm-hmm. So it's not like they signed it last year or a few days ago. 9 years ago, Barcelona and the other 19 teams at the time who were in La Liga, and I'm guessing all the teams below who've been promoted as well have signed up to the same agreement. That's what you can spend on wages, and that's in black and white. Mm-hmm. I don't see how Barcelona can legally challenge that.
Well, and as Five Nerds Go also puts in the chat, Barcelona still has to empty out players to get the budget down. We're talking about players who have been on the brink of leaving for years, it seems. Players like Antoine Griezmann, Ousmane Dembele, Felipe Coutinho, Samuel Umtiti, Martin Braithwaite, who I think he just re-signed a new deal. But they've got, there's nobody out there to buy these players, right? Nobody can afford the transfer fees. Nobody can afford the release clauses that Barcelona themselves has put into these deals, along with the high wages that kind of puts them in the situation they're in now, to where they are losing arguably the best player to ever put on a pair of boots.
And something that I will say... Oh, sorry, go on, Matt.
Martin Braithwaite apparently asked to have his number changed to number 10 tonight. Twitter's gonna love that one.
Yeah. If we're taking anything away from this this special report tonight, is that Martin Braithwaite really wants that number 10 shirt.
I'm also going to quote a tweet that came out on the 28th of August last year. Martin Braithwaite apparently asked management to wear number 10 when Messi leaves. So it's about what happened now then. Management told him that he would leave before Messi. Hasn't happened. It's been the way around. Messi didn't get assigned his new contract.
Yeah. And what I will say, some of I don't think he's getting talked about all that much. The amount of income that Messi brings into the club, whether it's from tourist fans, from, the stadium tours, because, the club museum is basically a shrine for Lionel Messi. From
as it should be,
sponsorships. Yeah, as it should be. But, you've got to think the amount of money that Lionel Messi brings into the club, that's going to be a huge part of Barcelona's income. And if the wage bill needs to be matched to the income, they're going to have to reduce it even further next season. Since the income will be lower, they're going to have to get rid of even more players because of the loss of income.
And the knock-on effect, by the same token, Chris, is going to be even wider, because if I was a fan of Betis, for example, Real Betis, for example, and I'm guessing, I'm not sure if the COVID situation is better right now. I think it's getting better. I think they've got crowds coming back this year. If I was a fan of Betis and Barcelona coming to town, I want a ticket to watch a game because I want to see Messi.
Yep.
Messi not the team. Is that as attractive an offer for the? I'm talking about the money now sort of thing. I'm not talking about because obviously ESPN have signed up to the deal with the future in mind sort of thing. The big marquee players, you want to see them, and could that affect numbers for the other teams for their home games?
Well, definitely.
This brings up a hilarious scenario where all of La Liga teams and supporters included start a GoFundMe campaign for Barcelona to afford Lionel Messi so he stays, which, as wild as that seems, it might not be outside the realm of possibility that they try to do whatever they can for Messi to stay at Barcelona.
Well, you've got to think, it's just been announced, for example, I can't remember if it's today or yesterday, the Bundesliga has signed a 4-year deal with Sky Sports in the UK. So, there are other leagues out there, and you've got to think with the loss of Lionel Messi, you've got to think there's going to be, not thousands, but there's going to be loads of TV channels pulling out of La Liga because Messi's not there. And you've got to think the income from, the money that broadcasters will bring, it's just going to go down and down and down, and then the income for clubs is going to go down and down and down, and Barcelona's just going to go straight into the floor. So it could be a really precarious time for the Liga clubs, and that's why I personally think that he will stay at Barcelona, purely because La Liga can't afford. Well, I'm not going to say they can't afford, but they really do. It would really suit them if Lionel Messi stayed in La Liga.
This is true. Gentlemen, but before we mosey on out, any other newsworthy aspects of the Messi case that we have not touched on yet?
There is a Just Green page set up for Messi's transfer to Man City. I'm not even kidding.
Do what?
I'm not surprised. I'm sure it's quite a few.
the Just Giving page set up to pay for Messi's wages to go to Man City.
I'm going to donate a $5 to that. Pay his wage for about half a second.
It's a year old, but it still exists. It's open ended. So let's see how much let's see how much they've raised so far. They've raised $0.
$0. Okay.
I kid you not. I'm going to show you this on the stream right now.
That looks like zero. That looks like £0 raised.
Look how much they're trying to raise, though.
Yeah,
it's not clear.
They're trying to raise $9 million.
Wow. Seems like they've got a far way to go to make that goal. I'm going to ask the very obvious question before we hit the road here, gentlemen. Assuming
I've told
Messi...
you once before, Tanner. No, I won't do that.
Understood.
The other obvious question. All right.
The Bob rules on its way, though. It's fine.
Assuming that Messi does not stay at Barcelona for whatever reason, assuming that does not happen and no deal can be reached regardless, right, of further negotiations from this standpoint, what is Lionel Messi's legacy at Barcelona? Matt, I'll go to you first.
A lot of people will argue with me on this one. A lot of people will agree with me on this one. It depends entirely on who you are. I dare say you two will argue with me. Lionel Messi, irreplaceable, is the word I would use to describe him. He is possibly, certainly a conversation for, the greatest player to have ever played the game. There's an argument for it. I mean, the stats don't lie. I know his magnitude job usually. I mean, he's been there since he was a kid. During 2003, he scored 672 goals in 778 appearances. I mean, those numbers just make your eyes roll round.
Yes.
I mean, he's been there 18 years. And, I mean, how do you replace Lionel Messi when you have no money?
Yeah.
They could have actually sold him for money last year. They didn't.
They chose not to. They chose to keep him. Yes. Yeah.
Irreplaceable is what I feel. I personally feel he's PSG bound for me, which will hasten Mbappe. Mbappe will leave this window.
Wow. That would be that's a major call here from Matt talking about Mbappe leaving this window.
But he wouldn't take him at Liverpool though.
Yeah,
apparently. Established
apparently
that.
This makes me so sad that he's.
I know,
yeah.
And
rather have Origi up front.
And he's Anfield bound.
What?
Don't make me laugh.
I don't want him there, but it's where he'll end up.
Well, I mean, there's the rumors of all the golden boat full of money that Nike has given Liverpool for their sponsorship. So who knows? Maybe it'll happen.
Shut up, Tanner.
You said so. So I'm just moving along the news here. Chris, the obvious question: Messi, if he does not return to Barcelona, what is his legacy at the Camp Nou?
He's the greatest player of all time. I mean, there's a lot of people who argue that, and I mean, obviously, it's very hard to compare footballers just from this generation. Never mind from generations, previously. It's hard to compare with different positions. Obviously, you can't do direct comparisons. But I mean, in my opinion, he's the greatest player of all time. And I mean, it's just, I feel blessed to be part of a generation where we've had two of the greatest of all time at the same time.
Yes.
But I mean, even if you just look at this season for Messi, I mean, 30 goals and 9 assists. That's a goal or assist every 77 minutes for Barcelona. The next highest is Griezmann with 13 goals, and then you've got Ousmane Dembele on 6. And we're on about Barcelona not having any money to replace Messi. That's like Matt said, he's irreplaceable anyway. But when you're having to replace him with Martin Braithwaite, I mean, that's I don't know how Barcelona's managed to get themselves out of this. The new camp's falling apart. La Masia is stalling. They've got huge players on massive contracts that don't want to leave. They'll rather just sit out the contracts. Mm-hmm. They've got plenty of injury-prone players. They've got an aging squad. I don't see any way out of this for Barcelona. I think it's just going to get worse and worse for them. If Messi does decide to leave, if he does decide to leave Barcelona, I do think he would be PSG bound. I don't think he will leave Barcelona, but I think if he does, I think he'll be PSG bound. Unlike Matt, I don't think that will mean Mbappe leaves this summer, purely because I don't think anyone could afford him, realistically. I mean, you'd have to think... but you'd have to think that PSG, because it's not like PSG are desperate for the money. You'd have to think, even with a year left on his contract, they'd still be asking for 9 figures in terms of a transfer fee, plus whatever would be the agent fee, plus whatever would be the transfer fee, plus his wages. That's a lot of money when, you could cut out the transfer fee next season. Mm-hmm. But I know I'm a cynic, but I just can't see Messi leaving Barcelona. I don't know if that's just me not being able to comprehend it, or whether that's just me, I can't see it personally.
I think a bit of both there, buddy.
But I mean, it's definitely a case for me where it's,
you've been burned.
Believe it when I see it. Believe it when I see it. Yeah. Until I see him lining up in a different strip, he is still a Barcelona player to me.
Do you feel I said the same thing about Grealish, and then I saw him in the chair in the man. I'm like, what do you think? You think there's bloody throne for Grealish? It's ridiculous. Tanner,
it don't look right in that sky blue kit. It don't look right, does it?
That's the right tone, man.
It's kind of weird. But I feel like we would feel the same about Messi. I feel like we look at the sky blue kit.
Lampard didn't look right in either, to be fair. Tanner, for you,
yes.
I'll ask you the same question I've asked both. What is Messi's legacy at Barcelona if he should leave?
I mean, again, this is very cliche, but greatest of all time. I mean, so many iconic moments that Messi has had in the Blaugrana shirt. All of the El Clasicos, the occasions where he's had a standing ovation at the Santiago Bernabeu. The celebration he had where he took off the shirt and hoisted it in front of the Bernabeu stand. The occasions where he's lifted the Champions League title, with Barcelona, and those great Pep Guardiola teams, and the occasion where he won the Champions League with Neymar and Luis Suarez. All of the La Liga titles that he's collected along the way. An absolutely brilliant footballer, a person who I think it was put in the chat earlier, and I love this description here. I'm going to try and find it real quick. Let me see here. I believe it was by, Micah Pellegrini here in the chat. I don't know if Mike is still here or not, but I'm throwing this up here anyway. Messi, regardless of where he goes, transcends sports and is an asset to any team as a player or to a coach.
That's coming from somebody I didn't know was even a fan of football until 3 weeks ago.
Well, there you go. This is... this news here, it deserves us breaking the news and putting together this very quick effort to try and produce some commentary on Messi, is because he is the greatest of all time in many people's eyes. I mean, there's a lot of people who will argue about Pele, about Maradona, about Ronaldo.
Some people throw other players like Cruyff and Bobby Moore and Stanley Matthews. People will throw all these amazing names into the mix, but they've all got their merits.
Right, but I don't think that the debate is nearly as I don't want to say combative, but the debate is not nearly as hot without Messi being in the conversation. We wouldn't have the opportunity to have this debate without Messi being one of the all-time best players to ever put on a pair of boots. So yeah, this is
whoever steps into
crazy.
that number 10 shirt at Barcelona has some extremely large size 9s to fill.
I mean, do they even make the shirt available? I mean,
you have to think they'd retire it, surely.
I'm not meaning the actual shirt. I mean whoever's stepping into his spot on the pitch.
Well, yeah.
I thought you meant whoever gets the number 10 shirt.
No, well, to be fair, that's the occasion when you should retire a shirt number. Note to you, Birmingham, retiring a player.
I was about to say, Birmingham retired the number 22 after a season of Jude Bellingham. I'm sure Barcelona could retire the number 10 for Messi.
I mean,
to be fair, Birmingham may have seen that coming well, to be fair, though.
Roma should have retired the number 10 for Totti. Liverpool should have retired the number 8 for Gerrard. I feel like there are shirts that you were to retire at a club if if it strikes you right, and this seems like an occasion where I would retire the
there
number
are
10
some
shirt
numbers
for
that
Barcelona.
are synonymous with legends for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
You think of for 7 at Man United for Cantona or Beckham, or actually since Beckham, has anyone actually lived up number 7 shirt? I don't really think they have.
Well, there you go. So let's head on out, guys. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for all those who have joined us in the chat and joined us live. Please, yes, let your friends know about Radio Tekkers and catch the replay if you can. Well, I'll go ahead and tweet out the replay for everybody to see it. It would be awesome. But until then, Chris, thank you for joining us. You're our new Radio Tekkers field analyst. We appreciate you for making the time today to join us. Where can people find more of you and your content?
Well, I mean, thanks for, again, I said a lot of this during the Harry Kane video, but, just thank you so much. I'm really happy the fact that you deem me good enough to be a part of this Radio Tekkers team. You can find me on Twitter, not that hand, this hand. You can find me on Twitter at Chris_BFC_. It's flipped. I don't get it.
It takes a while to get used to.
It does, yeah. It's this one. You can find me there at Chris_BFC_. You can follow my podcast, the Anti-Football Podcast, at Anti-Football Pod on Twitter. I do quite a bit of writing. I write for Nearfalls, which you can find them at Nearfalls and at nearfalls.com. And I've also going to be writing for this new startup spin-off of Nearfalls called A Game of Two Halves. You can follow them on Twitter at 2halffootball. I've actually got an article all lined up, ready for the start of the new season, all about Nuno Espirito Santo and how Spurs could potentially line up, how they could be shaped tactically.
Yeah. Check out that Harry Kane video too.
Please check out that Harry Kane video. It was very good.
I love it.
But yeah, that's enough shilling from me.
Definitely, man. Thank you for coming on, and yes, you are certainly worthy of being on the Radio Tekkers team. I'm glad that we could make this happen.
He is our fourth official for sure.
Absolutely.
But he's way better than Peter Walton. That's not saying much.
Matt, where can people find more of you and your content, good sir?
Just here at Matt.UK. I'm across stuff on Tekkers. I'm across stuff over on Digital Media. You find all my stuff linked at via me on Twitter here. And then, of course, there's also our usual co-host who isn't here today because he's busy shilling for someone else today. Find him at Podfather Mags.
Yes, you can find Mags over on Twitter at PodfatherMags. He will return.
See, that's why Matt's a professional. He knew immediately which hand to use.
Yeah, see, there you go.
I might have just gone like that a few times to make sure which one it was. To be sure. It took me about 10 episodes.
Indeed. Mags will be returning alongside Matt and I this weekend for a little bit of a Premier League fantasy football draft. That'll be fun. So make sure to join us for that. You can find me on Twitter at TexasGentleman_ right there, or simply go navigate yourself diagonally closer to where Chris is, right next to him. Follow us on Twitter at Radio Tekkers. That's RadioTekkers. That'll be a lot of fun. I'm sure that you'll hear a lot of us the next few days. But yes, please like, share, subscribe, catch the replay, and you guys take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.
We're out of here.